As we look to create a humane world, right? A world that functions where we take care of one another, we share, we support one another, we serve one another in a way that actually feels good and we'd all seem to enjoy. As we look at that, one of the key elements would be protecting the innocence of our children. When our children are born, they aren't born with preconceived notions of racism. They aren't born with ideas that money is important. They're born with an understanding of what feels right and what they enjoy, and that they are deserving of the same level of joy and happiness and contentment and peace. And then the world starts putting them in positions to affect that innocence, right? Even in the beginning, in our healthcare system, we're trying to shoot them up with immunization shots before their immunization is naturally developed. The first few years of their development should be protected so that their immunized triggers that happen in their body actually protect themselves from illness and harm as best it can. Same goes from the information that we start to plant inside them. Breastfeeding is the most important way to get nutrients for a child. And yet, we are spending billions of dollars at our highest institutions to redevelop breast milk. That's a little bit nutso. Only our white culture is doing that. Only our disconnected culture is doing that. Indigenous cultures and Aboriginal cultures, they know that the benefits of breast milk is for the nutrients of the child as it's developing those immune triggers. And mentally, we start planting seeds. We start saying things. We start bringing things into their environment that they pick up on. Whether we tell them what to do, they learn a lot more from our own behaviors. And if we aren't protecting their innocence so that they can see the world for what it is, so that they can be as pure as possible. See, I personally think you should be allowed to vote from the time you're about 6 to the time you're about 16 to 18. I think those are the people that should be voting for the leadership because they're concerned with their future. They're concerned with how people are being treated. They don't have these designed responsibilities from our systemic nature. And so they're not influenced on this look out for me and what I have to do to protect me. So they're not voting in their interest per se, personalized and individualized. They're much more concerned with sharing and caring and enjoying themselves. That's what children do, right? I did it. That's how I wanted to grow up. I watched my son do it. That's how he wanted to grow up. And you can still become responsible adults when you know that you've reached that point in your life. But in the meantime, we should be protecting their innocence because their innocence, our innocence, is what leads us to a purely simple idea of what life is and how to treat one another and how to enjoy it on this planet. And if we're going to dismantle these systems and rebuild something new, because that's the most important part, is what we rebuild, focusing on our children will shift our ideas, how we eat, how we live around stress. The environments that we create can be nurtured and developed from planting the seed of how we raise our children. And that's what Race for What is all about. It's asking us, what are we racing for? And how can we build something more humane? Thank you.